Welcome to the Successful Athletes Podcast presented by TrainerRoad, where we interview successful athletes to make you a faster cyclist. And this week we're joined by Casper Green out of Houston, Texas. What's up, Casper?
Hey, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Happy to have you on here. So you reached out at trainerroad.com/SAP, which is where anybody listening here can share their story if they want to be on the podcast and share how TrainerRoad has helped them become successful. And just jumping straight into it, you shared that you basically had a significant improvement with your FTP and your weight. So when you first started out, you were at 214 FTP and 195 pounds, which puts you roughly at about 2.4 watts per kilogram. Mm-hmm. And then you ended up getting all the way up to 284 watt FTP at 160 pounds. So that puts you at 4 watts per kilogram, which congrats, by the way, hitting that. That's a big threshold to hit. So
awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah. We're going to dig into how you made all that happen today and the seemingly small and insignificant things that actually make a big difference. So starting off though, how'd you get into cycling? And when we talk about a 214 FTP for your first ramp test, was that the beginning or what's the background before that?
No, that wasn't the beginning. I've always rode bikes in some sort, a lot of BMX when I was younger, mountain bikes later on, and some motocross. But as far as road cycling, I met a buddy at work that I'm still good friends with. He was training to be a triathlete, and I kind of got a road bike and was riding with him for several years. But married, 2 kids, full-time job, things like that. I put the bike down for a few years. Probably was off the road bike for 3 years or so, and in that time, wasn't very kind to myself. I didn't stay very active or on top of the diet or anything. So I gained a bunch of weight and stuff. And I guess mid 2019, later in the year, decided to get back into cycling, give it a try because it was a lot of fun and I just missed it and wanted to get back in shape. So,
yeah, that's like a common thing for a lot of us is we pile on responsibilities in life.
Yeah. And
when they start to pile on, we let the things like cycling or whatever our activities are, they kind of fall by the wayside. It become very occasional, that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you had like a body composition change, but were there other motives too? Like why did you, because it's a lot of work when you work a full-time job and have kids and own a home, do all that stuff. There's a lot of things in your life that you need to do. And adding in 1 to 2 hours a day of sitting there training your, training your head off is really hard. So why did you end up doing it? What was the motive?
There was a lot of factors. I wasn't too happy with the way I felt and physically looked, just added weight. And cycling was so much fun. I really missed it. And the other problem, too, is, where I live here in the suburbs of Houston is kind of on the bike route. So I would come out front and bikes would pass in front of my house. And it's like, dang, I really miss it, And I wanted to get out there with my buddies and start having fun again. So, yeah. I got a hold of my career a little, started managing my time a little better and saw an opening. So get back in there and try and get out there with them and have some fun.
Yeah. So what brought you to TrainerRoad in particular?
Yeah. So TrainerRoad wasn't my first choice. I got back on the road, initially just got out there to have fun. And my buddies had gotten so fast. My friend that was training for a triathlon, he actually became a successful triathlete and started coaching other athletes. And I'd met mutual friends to them. They were so fast. I couldn't even hang on to them. Was doing the local bike shop ride. Same thing. Those guys in the A group would go out and it looked so much fun, to be able to do that, but I just couldn't. So, we have some close family friends, that we spend every other Christmas with. And, December 2019 was our year to hang out with them. And one of the guys in that family is a pretty successful bike rider. He's had a lot of success in road and time trial. And I was telling him my thoughts with cycling. We were just talking what I was going to do. And he said, absolutely not. Showed me TrainerRoad and said, this is what you need to do. And so I was all excited then. I think I bought, that was on Christmas, December 2019. I bought a smart trainer. And I think he gave me one of those 30-day free trials that you guys give out for the riders, which is a really good way to get started. And first couple weeks in January, I did my first ramp test and got on TrainerRoad basically because of him, his referral. So that was really awesome. I owe him credit for that. So.
That's awesome. Good friends.
Yeah.
What's his name so we can give him a shout out?
His name's Sanchez. Chucky is a Spanish nickname, I believe. I think he goes by Jesus on TrainerRoad. So Jesus Sanchez. Yeah, he got me going awesome. In the right direction. So appreciate that.
Shout out Jesus. That's awesome. So what was your goal when you started with this? Was it simply to get in shape or did you have an event or what was the motive behind it?
Yeah, 2020 was a weird year for events anyways. But my main goal was just, I wanted to have fun riding my friends, and they were quite a bit faster, and I wanted to be up in that top group. It looked so much fun just to be stronger on the group rides and the triathlon trainer rides the guys were going on. Some of those guys were just beasts. There's men and women in that group that are really strong, and I wanted to be able to ride with them. And sometimes the night before the rides, it was almost like a little bit of anxiety. I was like, man, tomorrow's going to be a bad day. Like, I don't know if I can hang on. And, I didn't want to be there. I wanted it to be a fun thing where I knew I was strong and could ride with them and enjoy it out there,
Yeah, for sure. Because for you, it sounds like part of this was also that emotional balance and the release, and like something that's something that you enjoy and that's good for you, so that that could add kind of a different that can weigh the scale on the other side in terms of all the stress that you have for life and everything else. So, if the group ride is a source of stress instead of a source of relief, then that's pretty bad. And I think that's a common thing. We see a lot of athletes asking, like, well, I'm not a racer. Like, what can I do? And, I don't have any races planned. So how did you pick your training plans, and which ones did you pick?
Yeah. So with the busy schedule and all that, and again, my friend, Jesus kind of helped me out with that. But, so I did my ramp test, and then it had to be low volume just because of the work schedule and life work balance. So low volume plan. And, I think I started in January with sweet spot base 1. Was my first one, and then rolled right into sweet spot base 2. So right in January, February, just got a lot of base conditioning, kind of just following what he was doing in his lead, and those worked out really well. So that was a good way to get started in it,
Yeah. What was hard about the training process initially? Because this is probably a stark contrast from what you had experienced before.
Yeah, for sure. I'd never done structured training, and right off the bat, I couldn't believe that you never coast. You're just pedaling the whole time. And, even that was a shock. I was like, when do we coast, or when do we, relax? But just doing a full hour and a half session, that, and just keeps it indoor. I didn't do cooling very well. I just had a fan in the ceiling and a little study at my house here that I was trying to train in that didn't have a lot of air circulation. So watch the podcast later. I got some fans. Things got easier as you learned a little more what would work and not work.
Yeah. So 2 questions on that. Number one, how did you get used to pedaling the whole time without stopping? Was that something that just came with time, or did you do specific things? Did you let yourself take breaks and then kind of phase them out as time went on?
Yeah. So I didn't. I took breaks and just like make an excuse, like, I got to fill this bottle, or maybe a quick bathroom break, something like that. But, it came pretty quickly. After the first few weeks, I was able to, do the full hour. And I did Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So the Friday ones were normally the longer hour and a half ones. And those are the ones that kind of seemed like I was on the bike, especially indoors, for a long time. But as you get more into it, the pedaling on the downside of the intervals is actually recovery. So I couldn't imagine at this point stopping pedaling. That's what moves everything out and gets me ready to go again. But I just kind of built up to it.
And then on the cooling side, what did you do there? You mentioned that you got some fans and that sort of stuff, but what are the specific changes you did to make cooling better?
Yeah, especially in the winter, making sure the heater's not on in the house, circulating hot air in that room, just blowing hot air back at me. I learned that lesson the hard way, just sitting there melting. But circulation in the room. I got a big fan that you guys had recommended on one of the podcasts that helped out quite a bit.
Yeah, probably one of those Lasco Performance Series fans.
That's the one. When I first got it, I was like blown away by it, like it's too much. But now it's on high level all the time. It's perfect,
Yeah. They're the sort of things that you use to like dry out a basement when it floods, that sort of thing. So when it hits you, it feels real strong, but it's worth it.
Definitely, yeah.
Do you still train in the study there in that same room, or have you moved at all, the trainer and the bike?
Oh yeah, that's become the bike room now. So I got my 2 bikes in there, my smart trainer, the fans, everything set up, speaker system. So that's where
awesome.
I train. Spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah, it is a study, different type of studying, right? Yeah. Right. So, yeah. What else was tough about the training process? Like, what did you find that you struggled with in particular?
It really wasn't that bad. I thought the schedule would be a problem, but it's really the low volume plans aren't that bad. It's 3 times a week and hour and a half at the most. So I could fit it in somehow. And I didn't struggle so much with the schedule as I thought I would. I had to move some rides every now and then, but the calendar worked so easy that wasn't really a big deal. At first it was a little demanding when I got off. I was just kind of, beat and stuff like that. But as time progressed and my endurance came up, I can do the rides and cool off and shower and still spend time with my family, or work projects need attention or something. It doesn't take me out too much. So
yeah. When did you fit When did you fit your training in amidst the other responsibilities that you have?
So I'm thinking about making a shift this year to start doing it in the mornings, but I do it late after work. It just fits my schedule better. The mornings here are kind of chaos, everyone trying to get out the door and get going. So I got to commute to work too. It takes me about an hour or so to get to work back and forth in Houston traffic. So typical would come home and say hi to the family, hang out for a little bit, maybe get a snack and get suited up and get in there for the hour and try and get out in time for dinner and spend some time with the family before bed. So normally later afternoon.
And what other responsibilities do you have? You've mentioned kids and family and work, that sort of stuff. So how many kids do you have and what are their ages?
Yeah. So I'm married, have 2 kids, 15 and our daughter just turned 9. So they're getting a little older, which makes things a little easier. But and then my wife's family lived in the same neighborhood as we did. So we spent a lot of time there. My family lives in a neighborhood just adjacent to here. So the family stuff, there's a lot of family going on. It takes up some time, things like that. And then work's pretty demanding too. So I've been working the same place for quite a while, but I take on a lot of side projects too. So I work a pretty heavy schedule. So between it all, there's not any one particular thing, but the whole sum of it all, pretty time consuming. And that's always been a challenge to fit in the training and stuff like that.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's the hard part is when it's unpredictable. Like if it's very predictable and very consistent, it's pretty easy to plan around that within reason, of course. What's the nature of your work? What do you do?
I do electronics, a lot of smart homes and home automation, and Houston, the housing market's booming here, so we're really busy. So we've been doing really well past couple of years, but the workload's been pretty high, so which is good. It's a good thing.
Yeah, can't complain, right? Is it physical labor of you being on your feet, or is it a mix of that and office work, or what's it like?
Yeah, it's a mix of everything. So, there's programming and software stuff that takes, sitting down at a computer, but there's also getting up in attics, running low voltage wiring and hooking up gear, and it can be very physically demanding. And that's another thing that's kind of weird with the training. You don't know day to day what's going to happen. So some days I'll come home and really fresh and ready to train. Some days I was just the physical output that day at work was pretty bad. So you never know. You just kind of got to play it how it falls,
Yeah. What do you do when you have those extra tired days when you come back and it's really tough for you to be able to complete the workout?
I've really tried to just keep going. There's been times where it was just too much and I've moved a workout just a day back or something, but I try and stay real consistent on the program as much as possible. So you could always have a physical, if there was an event or something I was actually training for, I could have a bad day before then too, or a physical day. So I try and just keep it consistent, work through it if at all possible. But yeah, there's been days where I came home and I just didn't have it. So I'll just move that workout, it was pretty obvious early on,
Right. And this is why I think it's so smart of you to follow a low volume plan. We talk about this all the time on the podcast, that low volume training allows you to be able to have flexibility in your life and have things shift around, and you can still make sure that you hit your marks and get that, not only the speed that you need to get faster, but then on top of that, it also gives you the chance to be able to actually, physically, or I should say emotionally, have that balance of feeling like I got everything done and I can check it off the list. What about nutrition? That's tough with your sort of work. You're moving constantly. You're not at probably a home base, but you're out traveling around. So, there's restaurants or different things that you do. Like, how do you eat during the day and then make sure you're fueled for the work when you come home?
I found out pretty early on that was real important. So I did my first 2 sweet spot base, and I went through those pretty easy. There was like the new start or whatever, but then I got into a build. And that's when it took a little more focus. And one of your podcasts I was watching was talking about fueling and how important that is. And I noticed, I forgot who said it, but it was a takeaway I got from that podcast. And it was really rang true to me. I noticed if I ate clean that day, that my TrainerRoad workout that evening would be that much easier. It went from, being hard but manageable to, if I ate bad that day, it was just tough, like really bad. So I started kind of working on the diet. First thing I fixed is my breakfast. My wife helped a lot with that. So I used to just run out the door and just drive through a fast food place and grab sausage biscuit or hash browns or something. And I cut that out. So I started having a good protein shake and some fruits and nuts in the morning, get me going. And then originally I only did it on TrainerRoad days. So the 3 times a week, I'd make sure to eat healthy and clean. And that really started helping fuel the workouts and doing a little better. At lunchtime, I would just make smarter choices. The group of guys I work with, they might want to go to a Mexican restaurant or something, but I could always find a salad or something, chicken salad or something, a little more healthy to work. But so I started doing that really just in my TrainerRoad workouts. But then when we'd go outdoors too, I was like, well, if I'm going to, fuel all my indoor workouts good, I might as well do the outdoor workouts good. And what I was surprised is when I wasn't having a workout day or whatever, and I went back and just ate whatever I wanted, fried food or just nasty stuff, that I started feeling real bad. So that just made the change to kind of eat healthy more often, or most of the time. Yeah.
It's crazy how like you can notice it once you start introducing it and then have like that juxtaposition, you notice how bad you feel, but you never notice it otherwise. Like if you don't pull yourself out of it, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I was so excited to have a cheat day. So I just eat whatever I want. And then I felt so bad. I was like, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that, so just keeps you in line. So
it's one of those things where we have emotional releases like a cheat day, but then if we actually stand back and we're analytical about it, it actually makes us feel worse and doesn't really give us an emotional release. A lot of the time it can also kind of add to that. Instead, it's just about like fueling your body with what it really needs and being kind to your body in that regard. And then it always pays you back with it. You had a pretty significant weight loss with this too. So what sort of dietary changes occurred that helped make that happen?
Yeah, well, again, it was just the process. I didn't even think of it in those terms of like, I'm trying to lose weight. My main goal was just to have fun out there with my friends and be able to ride as fast as them. But the diet happened because of the training. It just, again, became easier to train if I ate correctly. So I cut out fried foods and heavily processed foods and just a lot of healthy, more greens. And I'm a meat eater, but I switched to mostly chicken, cut out some of the beef and just more of an awareness of what you're eating and not just, where everybody else is doing. So definitely was eating before a lot of fried foods and processed stuff. And I cut that out, just went to more, I just call it cleaner food, just making better choices, So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a balanced way to do it and a smart way to do it. So how did you feel, when do you eat that last meal before you get home to train? Because that's a tough thing for a lot of people is if they eat at lunch and then they train when they get home, especially with an hour commute, that's a huge gap of time that you have in between that last meal and the workout. So what's your eating like leading up to that? And do you eat a really big meal and then hope it fills you up, or do you rely on snacking or something pre-workout?
That really did factor in, especially with the long commute home. By the time I got here, I would be starving, but it's time to jump on the trainer. So, so starting with breakfast, I'd do the protein shake and all that, and that would kind of fill me up to lunch. Lunch is pretty reasonable. I don't eat a huge lunch, just, medium size, like good portion. And I snack between breakfast and lunch. So maybe some apples, almonds, nuts, things like that, just kind of healthy food. And on the way home, I would always drink a lot of water. I still do drink a lot of water on the way home and have another snack. So maybe another apple and orange, some healthy food. And if I'm still hungry before the trainer, like come home and eat it that day, I'll grab another protein shake or something and give it a half hour to let everything, digest and get ready, and then jump in there and get it done,
Awesome. Yeah. Smart. Making sure that you're kind of like keeping it topped off instead of just a big old bolus of food and hoping that it breaks down, slowly enough. So
running on empty is never good on the bike,
Yeah, absolutely. And then do you fuel on the bike as well with those hour workouts? Do you take in any sort of carbohydrate or anything else when you're training?
Pretty rare. Sometimes on the hour and a half ones, or if I'm just really feeling that day, I have a Tailwind product I put in my bottle, which is kind of some carb thing. On outdoor rides, I'll take gels and stuff like that. Sometimes I don't do it on the indoor much. I just make sure I'm kind of fueled before, and then, sometimes a little bit of carbs, but I don't fuel much. I might start looking into that a little bit, because especially the longer rides, the hour and a half, and now on my schedule, some of them came up that are even longer than that, hour and 45, things like that. I might look into fueling a little better when I'm actually in there. So.
Nice. That's going to be huge. That'll help a ton. Now that you've gotten to the point of 4 watts per kilogram, what are the differences that you've noticed on the bike? How has riding changed for you?
Oh, it's so much more fun. It's like, it's a blast. So again, it used to be kind of a dreadful thing the night before. Like I wanted to go ride with my friends, and it was just like, but the suffering, like, I don't know how it's going to go. And that whole emotion's changed. I'm just excited. The night before, I'm like, we get to go out and ride with my friends. We're going to have a great day. Everything's going to be good. And I ride, where I want to ride, up in the front of the group. So as I started getting faster, I started moving from just sitting in to actually getting up with the front guys. And now I even take turns on the front and work together. And we get out there and sometimes get some KOMs or something. It just feels good to be part of it all and get to ride with those guys. And one thing that was surprising to me too, where we ride here outside of Houston, is it's very flat. There's no elevation. So we're most of the time just high speed on the flats, but we can road trip an hour or so away and get into some hills. And I always just hated it. Like, it was the worst ride, I used to joke and say I was a downhill specialist because I did not like going up the hills. And the group wanted to go out to do that a couple times. And I went, not very high expectations. I had that dread in the morning, but we had an out and back ride, and just, I couldn't believe it. By the time I got to turn around, I was like, I can ride hills, because the strength of power had changed. And so not only do I get to ride with who I want to ride with and ride faster the way I want to, but I've been able to ride different types of terrain and stuff too. It's made it a lot more fun for sure.
That's awesome. Have you done any sort of like strength training or anything else in addition to training on the bike at all? Or do you just keep it focused in because of the limited time availability to training on the bike?
Yeah, no, I have a little bit just recently, but so I started some of Chad's stretches that were recommended, and some of that's helped with flexibility and stuff, not really any weightlifting yet, but I'm taking steps towards it. So I joined the local gym up there and like to get some leg stuff in at least once a week or some things like that. But I'm starting to look at some of that and some of that in. But Sweet. Because of the work schedule and life schedule, so it's been hard to balance it all. But so far, just really sticking to the rides and the training. But maybe in the future, I'm gonna get in the gym a little more.
Nice. Awesome. So looking forward, what are your goals now? I mean, you have, you've been trying to make it so that you can ride at the front of that group ride. That's been checked. You're there, and that's a constant source of fulfillment with you, which is awesome. You've even reached 4 watts per kilogram, which is huge. Do you have any, clearly events are still tenuous at this point, at the time of recording of this podcast, but do you have any aspirations of picking any sort of events or joining your friend that was, for example, got into triathlon or TT?
Actually, later on the year, he had called me. I was at work, and the coach called me and said, "Hey, we're doing this 70.3 triathlon, but we're doing relay teams. Do you want to jump in there and do a bike leg?" And hell yeah, that sounds fun. So they had a couple different teams, some all men's teams and women's and some mixed teams. They put me on an all male team, and it was really a lot of fun. So that started me in the process, and maybe I'd like to do some events and some racing. So I'm already signed up for another relay triathlon, but I've started running and stuff like that. So maybe sometime in 2021, I'm going to start doing a little bit of triathlon stuff. And I know it's the exact opposite, but I was watching some of the race analysis videos that you guys did, and they look really fun. So Houston has some crit series. Ooh, so kind of the opposite, but I might try a little crit racing too. It just seems like it would be fun.
Yeah, that would be a blast. And with your background, BMX, motocross, that sort of stuff, you're used to banging bars with people and that sort of stuff. So a Criterium has a low cognitive load already for you. You have a lower threshold than most, or I should say a higher threshold than most. So pretty beneficial. That's awesome. And then for triathlon, do you have any sort of distance in particular that you have picked out that you want to start with or work toward?
I've started running, so I ran a couple halves, so that was cool. I might try a 70.3 at some time. I got to get in the water and learn how to swim. That's what's holding me back at the moment. But probably I'm just going to keep running and riding and doing the group rides. But eventually I'm going to get out there and try probably a half.
Yeah, you and me both, man. We both we need to figure out the swimming thing for sure.
It's kind of glooming over me, So.
I know, right? Especially it's a convenient excuse right now because of the fact that all the pools are closed and everything else, because of COVID. Yeah. So okay. So the one question that I want to ask you then, in addition to this at the end, is if there are other people that are looking to get into training, kind of a similar situation to you, what would you have told yourself now that would make the training process better or more productive?
I would just tell myself to get out there and do it. It's a lot of fun. And I do process some of the training too as an opportunity to have fun and not like something I have to do at the end of the day. It's like a way to get the stress and everything off. That helps a lot. And I'll have to admit there was a time last year where I got a little too serious about the numbers and maybe not to do that. Every ride had to be like the best ride, and you just can't expect that of yourself. So just kind of enjoy it and have fun with it. Even in in-ride instruction, sometimes there's humor and stuff in there. It breaks it up, which is great because you're in there suffering, you read it. It's supposed to be fun. So just to kind of have fun with it, but try and stay consistent is what I did and worked for me. And it really makes a difference in outdoor riding. It's so much more fun that it's definitely worth it. That's what I would tell them. So.
Awesome. Yep. Casper, is exciting stuff. I'm please stay in touch with me so that I can hear how your triathlon goes, and you can give me some swim tips as well. I'll appreciate those as you learn. And hopefully you get to race some crits, which would be super cool. And hopefully the race analysis stuff can help with you. If anybody wants to get in touch with you through the TrainerRoad forum or Instagram, or what's the best way to do it?
I'm on Instagram, and they can find me at TrainerRoad. On my profile is Casper Green 48, I believe.
Awesome. We'll link to that below then, and we'll link to you on Instagram as well. So then people can find you there if they have any questions. And if you want to get faster like Casper has, go from 2.4 up to 4.0 watts per kilogram, you should sign up for TrainerRoad and then share your story with us about how TrainerRoad made you successful. If that's already happened, please do so at trainerroad.com/SAP. And with that, everybody, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Casper.
All right. Thanks for having me.